It's 12 p.m. in Banjul and this is the news. First, the headlines. President Jammeh addresses thousands of Banjulians on the final leg of a 2015 dialogue with the People tour, with the Gambian leader vowing to defend the sovereign rights and dignity of the Gambia. Dozens of participants, mainly students and teachers, attend an international summit on education organized side by side, organization and partners. But put behind your past differences and build a unified Bosnia, Pope Francis urges Bosnia's various ethnic and religious groups to steer clear of their differences and help maintain a prosperous country. And final day of campaigning in Turkey's parliamentary election descend into chaos after deadly attacks in the Kurdistan region. These and other stories coming ahead this half hour. I am Tenneng. The President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya AJJ Jammeh, has vowed to defend the sovereign rights and dignity of the Gambia in the face of Western attempts to impose their will on the country. President Jammeh was speaking during the last meeting of the 2015 Dialogue with the People's Tour in the capital city Banjul, which was attended by thousands of people. Mamadou Jallo was at the meeting and he now reports.
The 2015 Dialogue with the People's Tour ended on a high note with a mass rally in the capital city Banjul. As usual, the meeting attracted thousands of people who flooded the iconic I-22. The mayor of the city, Abdoulaye Ba, in his address, welcomed the Gambian leader and entourage and also reaffirmed his people's unflinching loyalty to him. The Lord Mayor enumerated the numerous infrastructural projects accomplished in the city which have transformed the once impoverished settlement. Alhaji Obi Konate and Alhaji Birinjai both paid glowing tributes to President Jammeh for the numerous development projects across the country and urged Gambians to support the Vision 2016 initiative. Ajigas Kebe pleaded to the President to help the city women engage in business activities as a means to complement the Vision 2016, since Banjul does not have the land for large-scale farming. Currently, there are plans in the pipeline to construct fish ponds in selected sites in the city, a development that could provide employment for the youth. However, Abdusayang of the Association of Gambian Sailors believes that there are enough young people with the knowledge and skills to embark on industrial fishing to supply fish across the country. For this to be realized, Sayang argued they would need fishing trawlers and nets. The Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, Fatou Lamin Faye, called for a sober reflection among Gambians on how to attain our set targets. She called for attitudinal change, particularly among the youths, by embracing the path already set by the President. The Minister of Works, Construction, Infrastructure and Transportation, Balagaba Jahumpa, set the stage for the President by thanking him for the bold decision of enacting legislation aimed at defending the rights and dignity of Africans and black people across the world. The action man urged Africans to decolonize their minds in order to emancipate themselves from mental slavery. The Gambian leader, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh, mounted the podium to reassure Gambians that he would always champion their rights, dignity and development. He reiterated his resolve to transform the Gambia into a city-state where even Europeans will come looking for jobs. The Gambian leader said he would never compromise his principles, values or religion for aid and accused the West of double standards in their dealings with other countries. He cited examples of Western hypocrisy in certain Middle Eastern and African countries where their version of democracy and human rights have resulted in bloodshed and sectarianism. He warned that the Gambia would not accept any form of neo-colonialism or slavery and would confront any attempts aimed at destabilizing the country. Professor Jammeh further vowed to hold the West accountable for imposing colonialism and slavery on Africans, revealing that the Gambia will lodge a case at the International Criminal Court to get justice for the crimes committed. The Gambia as a sovereign country, according to President Jammeh, would not be dictated from outside, but would uphold its laws to the letter. He accused the West of employing stooges to push their agenda, but warned that he would not accept any interference or attempts from even ECOWAS or the African Union. Professor Jammeh chided the British for reducing the Gambia into a narrow strip of land after looting its resources and said he would employ every possible means to pressure them to pay reparations for the heinous crimes over the 400-year period of colonial rule. On a final note, President Jammeh also warned those seeking to destabilize the country that their actions would never be tolerated and will be crushed in order to safeguard peace and stability in the Gambia. He thanked Gambians for the support and called for unity amongst our ranks, whilst he also reassured that he will continue to afford equal opportunity to every Gambian to enable them realize their potentials. Mamadou Diallo, GRTS News.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the President's Alternative Treatment Program is pleased to announce that the treatment of people with fertility problems will commence on Monday, 8th June 2015. Registration will begin on Sunday, 7th June 2015 at 10 a.m. at Kanilai Alternative Treatment Clinic in Bakau. 60 participants from senior secondary schools are attending an international seminar jointly organized by Side by Side organization and the Gambia and Education for Global Engagement Institute, EDGE, from the United States of America. The 5-day International Education Summit is anchored on improving learning and exploring education. Rohibite reports.
Vital sector for the development of any country, a fact that has been demonstrated by the government as it places the sector among the key priority sectors in the country. For an NGO to deem it necessary and complement that drive is considered a good move. Known for their series of interventions in education by sponsoring over 600 students in the country, Side by Side organization this time around partnered with the Education for Global Engagement from the United States and are host to 60 students from all the regions in the country to an international summit on education under the theme Aim True.
The move is a clear testimony of the shared vision the two organizations have in promoting global education across the globe. It is not again saying that education is more than just reading, writing, and arithmetic. You will agree with me that education is one of the most important investments a country, organization, or an individual can make in its people and its future. This is because it is critical to reducing poverty and inequality. Education gives people critical skills and tools to help them better provide for themselves and their children, as well as enable people work better and create opportunities for a sustainable and viable economic growth now and in the future.
Institutes, we believe strongly that education is the way to improve lives, communities, and cultures. We believe that education is the fundamental building block for our communities to improve. So we find it very important to engage with other organizations as Side by Side and others around the world to do what we can to encourage education.
This summit, being the first to be held in the Gambia, is reported to be facilitated by educationists from the EDGE Institute with focus on learning and exploring education and how to become more innovative in the classroom, featuring a lot of sessions and activities including cultural dialogue and a host of others.
But if education is the best way of preventing uninformed people becoming helpless victims of their own ignorance, if this is the first motive power that sets in motion the latent culture of human beings, being enable them in the long run to understand their places in society.
Representing the Ministry of Youth and Sport at the occasion, Lamin Dabo, the Executive Director of the National Youth Council, highlighted key points in regards to the significance of education, urging students to value education and teaching as vital in the development of the country.
So as far as I'm concerned, economically and in the fight against poverty, I think education is the shortest means. Quality education for that matter is the shortest means to fight poverty in our communities, in our families.
These students will be engaged in sessions for the next 3 days with the hope that they will gain more knowledge from the summit and transmit the knowledge to their fellow students. They will also be joined by about 50 teachers who will also discuss similar areas with a view to improving innovative teaching. Rahibite, GRTS.
Muslims in and around the Combo Nut settlement of Mandina Ring on Friday gathered for the inauguration of a newly built mosque at the site earmarked for the construction of a bilingual boarding school for English and Arabic education. The newly built mosque and presidential quarters, as Samuel Bau reports, are the first in multi-million-dollar project expected to improve young people with opportunity to acquire language skills in English and Arabic.
The newly built Hadija Center Mosque in Mandinari, Kombo North, was on Friday inaugurated by the Imam of Sukuta, Al-Haji Ismaila Bey. the sanctuary of spiritual activity and this residential home are the first in a grand project set to house a bilingual boarding school, courtesy of the Hadija Foundation Center.
Yeah, it will mean a lot because most of the time you have people from the sub-region being able to speak different languages, especially official languages, either English, French, Arabic, Spanish, or other modern languages that can be used in the international scene.
Muslim nobles and devotees, as well as prominent government and local authorities, gathered to celebrate the official inauguration of the veritable spiritual center. Imam of Sukuta, Alhaji Ismaila Bey, who led the attendees in the Friday prayer occasion as a significant one for the spread of Islam. The Islamic scholar also thanked the multitude of devotees who had come to grace the occasion. Education experts who also made it to the ground for the communal Friday prayers welcomed the bilingual education project, describing it as a herald for numerous opportunities for young people.
With the setting up of a bilingual center like this, that will help promote Gambia's image, especially when it comes to international appointments.
The Hadija Foundation Center is a multinational force known for its substantial donations to the needy. According to the leadership team of the charitable foundation, full-scale construction of classroom blocks and staff quarters is expected to commence soon. The Hadija Foundation Center is one of those charitable organizations complementing government's efforts in meeting the growing needs of education service delivery. The Mandinari Bilingual Boarding School project, it is hoped, will stimulate and continuously support the development of young people. Samuel Bah, GRTS.
The National Environment Agency and other players in environmental management Thursday organized a one-day consultative forum on the Global Environment Facility GEF6 project. Fatou Janembai has more on a project that took off ground in 2008.
Environment Facility GEF is a partnership for international cooperation where 183 countries work together with international institutions, civil society organizations and the private sector to address global environmental issues. It is against this background that today's consultative forum was organized by the National Environment Agency as the focal point of the GEF6 project and its stakeholders to raise awareness about the Global Environment Facility matters and concepts.
The GEF6 project's cycle 2014 to 2018 in its interventions is aimed at accelerating progress in a direction that increases our resilience and coping strategies to withstand the effects of climate change, among other things. It is well documented that the Gambia is among the countries most vulnerable to climate change and as such will need to improve the resilience of vulnerable communities and the country as a whole.
Since the setup of GEF in 1991, GEF has provided $13.5 billion in grants and also levied $65 billion in co-financing for over 3,900 projects in more than 165 developing countries, including the Gambia. For over 23 years, GEF provided funds to support activities related to biodiversity, climate change, international waters, land degradation, chemicals management, and waste management.
For environmentalists, the global environmental crisis facing the world are partly attributed to human actions, and therefore human survival and that of all the life forms are threatened. One of the global initiatives in mitigating such environmental challenges is the establishment of funding mechanisms for financing such challenges, and that is what the GEF project is seeking to address.
We hope that using a multifocal approach and other standalone approaches will contribute towards achieving sustainable development whilst improving the environment at the same time. And we are mindful that in this process, Intersectoral and interagency coordination will be an essential factor for the successful implementation of projects.
The support for JEF 6 allocation is targeted at principally 3 thematic areas, namely climate change, biodiversity, and land degradation. The importance of the intervention in these 3 areas cannot be underestimated. This is so because today there is a strong correlation between climate change, land degradation, and biodiversity degeneration, with huge implications for countries all over the world, but more so developing countries like ours.
Stakeholders in environmental management envisaged that the JEF 6 project allocation on climate change will be used to consolidate the various gains made by the Gambia in climate change adaptation. Furthermore, it is also expected to help create structures which would facilitate the execution of climate change-related activities, making them more streamlined, holistic, and all-inclusive. The day-long exercise also culminated with presentations on the Global Environment Facility, Climate Smart Agriculture, and JEF Small Grant Project. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Fatujani Bai.
With that, we take our first break. We'll be right back with news from outside the Gambia. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Pope Francis has celebrated Mass in front of thousands of Catholics in a stadium in Bosnia-Herzegovina. In his sermon, the pontiff called on the people of former Yugoslavia Republic to seek ethnic and religious harmony to heal the lingering wounds of the civil war that ended in 1995. As part of his visit, he met with leaders of Bosnia's Jewish, Muslims, and Orthodox Christian communities. For more on that, let's join DWTV's news report.
The Pope arrived in Sarajevo with the aim of promoting peace in Bosnia-Herzegovina. It's been 20 years since the war that devastated the country ended, but deep divisions here remain. Bosnia also faces major economic challenges, including high unemployment. Francis called on people from across the country's different ethnic groups to reconcile with each other, warning of escalating violence around the world. There's a kind of third world war being fought in fragments. In the context of global communications, we sense an atmosphere of war.
Si percepisce un clima di guerra.
The Pope's calls for peace included a reminder of the horrors of war. You know this well, having experienced it here, how much suffering, how much destruction, how much pain. Today, dear brothers and sisters, the cry of God's people goes up once again from this city, the cry of all men and women of goodwill: war never again. As part of his visit, the Pope is meeting with Muslim, Jewish and Orthodox Christian leaders in Bosnia. He says he wants them to put their divisions behind them and move on to a new age of cooperation.
.396 people have been confirmed dead in China's worst maritime disaster for 60 years. 50 passengers and crew on board the Eastern Star remain unaccounted for. The ship's operators apologized and said they will cooperate fully with investigators. We have details in this news report.
The uncertainty has taken its toll on the relatives of the missing, still desperately awaiting answers about their loved ones. This daily briefing with the families was cut short after some started arguing with authorities.
There's no information at all. Every day they're procrastinating, wasting our time. No one will give a clear-cut answer and there's no progress to speak of.
The ship capsized last Monday after running into a freak tornado. But many here suspect human error contributed to the disaster. Salvagers have now raised and righted the hull, a process shown here in time-lapse. Next comes the grisly business of searching for bodies. Authorities have all but ruled out finding survivors.
Of the total 456 people aboard the ship, 14 have survived, 396 bodies have been found, and 46 people are still missing.
Amid pressure from the relatives, the government has promised there will be no cover-ups in the investigation.
Turkey's voters are going to the polls on Sunday in elections. Last-minute campaign was marred by a deadly bombing in the Kurdish region, where 2 people were killed and more than 200 injured in the twin blast. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has promised full inquiry, but many courts hold him responsible. We have more in this report.
Thousands of Turkish Kurds gathered in Diyarbakir to remember the victims of Friday's bombing. So far, there's been no claim of responsibility. But as the election draws near, many here say they hold Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan responsible.
Nobody except the state has the capability or the will to mount this kind of attack. These are dark forces in the state. Yesterday's blast was proof that Erdogan is capable of sacrificing anything, even peace, to increase the power of his office.
Erdogan has made no secret of his desire to increase the power of the presidency. If his AKP party wins a supermajority on Sunday, they can amend the constitution to boost his role. Erdogan addressed the party faithful at a rally on Saturday, where he condemned the bombing.
What happened in Diyarbakir was not against a particular political party. This is a provocative act to mar tomorrow's election. I hope our wounded will recover soon, and I extend my sympathies to those who died.
The Nationalist Party does well at the polls. It may be able to block Erdogan's plans, but it has promised to work for peace, no matter what the election results.
With that, we take our second break. Sports is next. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Scorpions Friday morning left Banjul for Uganda ahead of their first game in the qualifiers against the Bafana Bafana. The Gambian side will be aiming to redeem itself after a period of turmoil. Well, Gambia Football Association President Lamin Kaba Bajo is in confident mode ahead of the game in South Africa. Here's an excerpt.
So far so good. Can you tell us how are things faring up?
Faring up very well. It has not been easy. It's been a very tedious couple of weeks. As you are aware, almost all the members of the senior national team now are professionals who travel from overseas to come and join the national team. And as you could see, a good number of them are already here. We're expecting a few to fly and meet us at the training camp in Uganda. Maybe 1 or 2 could join us in Johannesburg or Durban, but that's not likely. I think all of them will be in Kampala. Okay, that logistic itself is a nightmare because some of them are still playing and they need to be released by clubs on dates that are agreeable to both sides. And then come to the ticketing, the airline connection here and there, the visa connection here and there, and then the local logistics also. But by and large, though it has been tough, challenging, but it was not unsurmountable. We were able to achieve almost everything is placed now, as you could see from the technical point of view. The financial point of view, the government has really delivered on its obligations towards the senior national team. Really, we are sort of worth to say thank you to the minister, to the president, to the minister, to the sports council, because without their intervention, it's going to be a non-starter. And also for my colleagues in the GFF and also both the executive and the secretariat, and any other person who, in one way or the other, the press really inclusive. So it's not, as I said, it has not been easy, but we are almost at the top of the hill. Now it's downhill.
The fanfare, the excitement ahead of the game has already started. You can see the turnout here just to watch the boys train. What is going to be the targeted results in South Africa?
Anyway, we're going for a point. the rest I leave that with the with the coach and the technical team. I think it's not fair for me to tell you what's going to be the result. But as a country, we are not going to allow anybody to look low upon us. These boys, these young men who are in the Gambian flags, almost all of them are playing at all levels of football in the world now. And then there are no underdogs no longer. So the issue of underdogs is no longer an issue for the Gambia. It's just for the coach to put his team together and the players also to listen and comply with the coach's instructions so that we can come up with the points.
This is the start of a new generation, one can say. We have seen a lot of new faces in the squad. Is this going to mark a new chapter in Gambian football, especially with regards to the much desired results fans have been long waiting for?
Certainly, without any prejudice to the previous players, we've seen outstanding players. Some of them are still playing. They've done their best and they've brought glory to the country. But that's life, that's evolution. That's why I'm here. I've not been here before, and somebody else is here. So these young ones who have the opportunity to be called upon to national duties, it's their time, and then we expect them to take the country to another level where their predecessors have really reached.
GFF President Lamin Kaba Bajo there speaking shortly before the Scorpions' departure for South Africa. Well, we've come to the end of the newscast, a recap of the day's main stories. President Jammeh has addressed thousands of Banjulians on the final leg of the 2015 Dialogue with the People tour, with the Gambian leader vowing to defend the sovereign right and dignity of the Gambia. Dozens of participants, mainly students and teachers, are attending an international summit on education organized by Side-by-Side organization and partners. Put behind your differences and build a unified Bosnia. Pope Francis has urged Bosnia's various ethnic and religious groups to stay clear of their differences and help maintain a prosperous country. And final day of campaigning in Turkey's parliamentary elections has descended into chaos after deadly attacks in the Kurdistan region. Well, that was all in this edition of the news. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay with us, and I am Tenneng.
GRTS, your national broadcaster, taking the lead and setting the benchmark for public information. The first provincial TV substation for Basse will soon be opened for timely and comprehensive coverage of news and events from around the country and beyond. The opportunities are immense. It's news and information in real time.